What's up, world? We're back on our live stream Tuesdays. Remember, if you want to tap into the knowledge, the conversations, the demonstrations we're going to take into the gym, Tuesdays here, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. We'll always notify you on the Instagram channel at Active Life Professional and at Active Life RX and on my personal Instagram at Dr. Sean Pastuch. If you like this kind of stuff, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. As you notice, I have some cameras on the set today instead of Larry. That's because I'm going to teach you how to use really high-level camera equipment to create good content in your gym.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
That's not true.
I'm coming in.
By the way, we matched by accident.
Was it an accident? Can you give me a little room? You're
a
like
little
really
room.
elbowing me.
I mean, I'm not,
look, I got a side now. You got a side.
I'm trying to do to you what you do to me every time like Jared Stephen comes into town.
Oh, you're trying to out-angle me.
Yeah, you make Jared look so big and me look so small.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks. I've been eating a lot.
So this is Sean Cleary. Is this your first ever on screen?
Well, technically, a lot of the Active for Life movement demos, I am the demo boy in because they were filmed during the lockdown.
We gotta reshoot those.
Yeah, they were not good. I did a handstand push-up for the first time in about a year, and I almost broke my neck.
Were you talking while you did the handstand push-up?
I tried to. I go, just flip over. Okay, I think I got it. So it wasn't the best. Sometimes you need to know what you're good at. And for me, that's usually behind the camera, not so much the demo person.
See, I think that's true about the demo person stuff, but I do think that you're selling yourself short on your value in front of the camera.
You're sweet.
Maybe on mic.
Two Seans make a right.
Maybe on mic.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm not going to talk about cameras at all today. What I thought would be valuable would be to bring Sean on while Larry hikes Acadia National Park in Maine.
Yeah, free solo, right?
No, he's not climbing anything.
Oh,
he's just walking around with his girlfriend. Yeah.
So he's walking in the woods.
Yeah, he's walking around in the woods with his girlfriend. I thought it would be valuable to bring you on, and you thought so too, to talk about media creation in the gym. It is a great idea.
Thank you.
One of the biggest problems that I see in gyms all the time, and for coaches, is that they have these Instagram accounts, and they have these photos that they've taken, and they don't know how to use one to support the other. I was hoping you could start shining some light on that.
Yeah, so I think what happens with gyms, whether it's a personal trainer or a coach or like a CrossFit style gym, they know that because in 2011, 2012, 2013, CrossFit gyms exploded because of a lot to do with social media. People were taking pictures inside gyms, like myself and some of my friends in kind of the first wave of CrossFit photography, and covered their Facebooks with them, and it was free advertising. Like, when I was still working a full-time job, I walked into your gym, tried to con you into paying me for one of my first paying gigs pay me to take pictures of your members.
But you were getting paid. People were buying the photos.
Yeah, I was by buying. They were paying like $3 for a picture, which was great then. It was $3 more than I had, but it wasn't that much. But I walked in very quickly because I saw like the CrossFit gym stuff was neat to me to take pictures of. And I realized if I took pictures of them, people also liked it. And it was an interesting shooting style because people are doing the same things over and over and they're in the same spot. So I could kind of figure out how to actually take pictures. And a couple weeks ago, we showed you some of those pictures and they're not very good. And it wasn't the fault of the subject. It was the fault of the artist.
Well, we kind of had like a symbiotic parasitic relationship.
We are parasites. Yes, we do feed off each other very much.
So what Sean's talking about with the con is he came into the gym and effectively realized that we would be better served putting really good quality content out onto all these new platforms. Facebook, it wasn't that new Facebook, but it was new that businesses would be using it to try to garner attention and to show what was going on inside of the business. Instagram was most definitely new. In fact, it wasn't even around until I think 2012.
It was just starting really. Yeah, it was really kind of just, it was a joke thing then.
Right, and the stuff for us really became big. I think that you really started to carve out some really valuable stuff for us when we got sued by our next door neighbor.
Yeah.
Because we had photographs of what was going on in the gym. We were able to humanize the experience, and you started putting out like the CrossFit's not a crime, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was fun. What I was really trying to do for you is because everything I'm doing, I'm not a selfish person. What I'm doing is things for you. So I realized I could make money and buy new cameras if I came in, took pictures of people working out, and the marketing side of this, and the whole point of it, why are we taking pictures inside gyms, is people would, if we put up a gallery of pictures on the gym Facebook page, back in the 11, 12, 13 area, people would then go in and tag all of those pictures. And then Facebook would do a huge boost on that stuff and say, you know, Sean was at CrossFit King of Island Park, King of the Beach. And then everyone would see that, and it was now free advertising for the gym. Oh, what's CrossFit? Well, I don't need to tell you what CrossFit is. Look at my social media. Look at my Facebook page, because I now have all these cool pictures of me lifting up way too much weight. You know, everyone's sweaty. They got the cool 300 filter on everything. Everyone looks good. It's win-win, because now all of a sudden the gym is getting a ton of organic reach, and I'm hopefully making some money.
Well, and I also remember we had a conversation in Swing Bellies, which is a barbecue place in our town, when I was going to do the event, Flex. And you were explaining to me why it would be valuable for me to hire you to do media for the event, which I was like, I don't know if we need.
Right, the event's going to sell itself, right? Aren't we good?
Well, we can't do media before the event.
Right, because it was the first year.
Because there was no event. And it was doing media at the event. And I was like, I don't know if we need. I can't imagine doing an event now and not documenting it.
Right.
But one of the things that you spoke about that the gym owners can still do today and should still do today was every time that you post a photo and you tag somebody in it, and you should post every single photo from the event in an album so that people can take it and put it on their own page, tag themselves in it. You have a watermark of your event.
Yeah.
And so people are going to be seeing all of these photos of their friends looking amazing at your event.
Right.
They're going to want to look awesome in a photo at your event next time it comes around.
Right, exactly. Like what I've always told event organizers is an event is one day, it's 2 days. There's another 363 days. That's math. That's
Depends on if it's a leap year or not.
Depends.
By the way, are there 366 in a leap year, or is it 365 in a leap year and 364 the rest?
I'm not a numbers guy.
I'm going to Google that.
But there's 364 days of the year. Your event's one day. If you don't have documentation of that event, what are you doing the rest of the calendar year? You're just waiting around to take then some bad Instagram photos. But to kind of circle this all back to what we were originally talking about was
365 in a regular year, by the way, 366 in a leap.
Great, good. Glad that we got that sorted. But what we're kind of circling back is, what do gym owners, coaches, personal trainers need to be doing with cameras inside gyms?
Yes.
They need to, A, be taking pictures and videos. They need to, B, not be doing it when the class or the session is in progress and they are the person that's supposed to be coaching it. I'll be the first person to admit I did that.
Yeah, carrying a baby.
The time. There was 1 or 10 times I might have carried a baby on one arm and taken pictures with another arm and also coached movements.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was ideal, but you know, everyone got a good time in. That was not a pro move. So don't be that guy that's trying to go, hey, take pictures and, oh yeah, straighten out your back. You almost died over there. Don't be that guy. And then most importantly, it has to be what is the gym now going to do with that content? And that, a lot of people, it's a complete mystery. Like we just talked about the one example of put the stuff in Facebook galleries, make sure they're well tagged and documented. The bigger picture stuff, no pun intended, is to give that sort of content, if you're shooting inside a gym, to those clients so that they can be spreading it themselves. The best traffic that you can get to be using your content as a marketing machine is that those people are going to organically be putting things out and using it themselves. Like the Facebook picture, the profile picture, the Instagram picture. I don't know what the kids are doing. They're TikToking and reeling and whatever they're doing. But those things, if you are producing good content and giving it to them, they will figure out what to do with it. But the idea of just, well, I'm going to take some pictures or pay someone to take some pictures of my gym. They're going to go in a folder somewhere and then profit.
I know that one of the questions gym owners might be asking themselves right now, and even coaches, is I know you're a big Sony camera guy. I can tell by the
Nikons?
Three Nikons, yeah. So what camera do they need in their gym? Because there are so many blurry shots,
right?
All that kind of stuff. How do they get good photographs in their gym without breaking the bank?
Right. So this camera is the first camera I ever got, like first real camera. I think it was probably $200 or $300 at the time. The lens I bought after. This lens was $800. This camera is very new. It's a mirrorless camera. It's Nikon. It's probably $2,000 for the camera, a couple hundred for the adapter, another $2,000 for the lens.
That's one that makes me look good.
That gives you the good filter. And then this one is a full pro body level. That's $7,000 camera when it was new. You could drop this off a truck. It'll keep working.
Really?
I wouldn't test it, but I dropped it. You could see the scuff marks and stuff. But really, you don't need any of these. You just need this. The best camera you have is the one in your pocket. Media is not something that you can buy yourself solutions for. You need to actually do things, whether that's through technique or thinking about things or planning. You can do it very, very, very cheaply, generally just using the phone you have and then a little planning. And I think later on we'll get into
Can you just show them, please, the number one tip for making really good photos with your phone that you teach everybody?
The number one tip, and this goes for every camera, but the iPhone especially, is right when you go to take your picture, immediately stop what you're doing, take your shirt, and rub the lens very, very thoroughly.
Yep.
If you're about to do a FaceTime, find that little spot right up there where the lens is and violently rub it. Because all you dirty gym people that have been sweating all day have had your
dirty.
Well, I've smelled you today, so I'll call you dirty.
I just went and bought the underarm deodorant.
That's true. Your phone has been in your pocket all day. Your pictures are very often blurry or smudgy simply because there's goop all over the lens. You give this a quick wipe, and the same thing, like your computer right now, that FaceTime camera, probably dirty. Give it a quick wipe, you're good to go.
All right. So we'll bring you back on when I'm done talking to Aja.
That's so exciting.
And we'll talk about how to actually turn the photos you take into valuable content.
Well, I was thinking we'd actually talk a little bit about how we can actually take some photos.
Well, we'll do that too.
We'll do them all.
All right.
That's fun. Let's see if the switcher will actually work from over here.
Ooh. Hi, Aja.
Hey, Sean.
How are you today?
I'm great, man. And yourself?
I like that new gear. That is very Texas proud right there.
You like that, man?
Yeah. Is that that's not where Houston is though, right?
No, this is just basically Texas flag inside of the state of Texas. Creative, isn't it?
Very creative. Was that you or Arian?
Dude, it's all me.
Oh yeah. We were talking before, and Sean was speaking about the other Sean, not speaking about myself in the third person, about how good the content that you create is. And I was like, I don't know if that's Aja or if it's Arian, because Arian likes using the camera a lot. You say
actually, Arian is our photo guy. I do a lot of the video, the low production value video stuff, but Arian, all of our photos, that's all him.
They're not low. They're a few steps above low production value. Like I once tried to do a reel where I added stuff to the screen, and everybody laughed and made fun of me. It didn't get any views, and I'm like, this isn't happening ever again.
Yeah. Hey, that means a lot coming from you, man. I know you guys put out some awesome content, so I appreciate that.
Sean.
What's that?
That's all you.
I have the easy part. I just stand in front of the camera and say things. And then this guy over here actually picks it up. So I appreciate you jumping on with me today. I'm kind of happy I get to hog you to myself and Larry's not here today because he's hiking some mountains or whatever they have in Maine. One of the things that I've always respected most about you was that once you decided that you're going to turn the chapter of the book from I'm an athlete who competes at the highest level to I'm a coach and a business owner, you really turned the page. And the part about that I think I respect the most is actually the way that you organize your family. The fact that you're able to it's not like I was all in on being a fitness athlete. Now I'm all in on being a gym owner. I've been out to your house now twice, I believe. Is that right? I think? Yeah, twice.
Yep. Not enough.
We'll work on it again. All right, now that Kim is not working anymore, we'll make it happen. But I've always been impressed with the way that you're able to put family, put yourself, really take care of the home, and then go and take care of the work in a really meaningful way. And I would love for you to just share some of your mindset on how you do that.
Yeah, I think those are all great questions, and I think that it's just commonplace for me. I don't think that there's options for me. It's when I was an athlete, that was kind of what I did, and that's where I put a lot of my investment and my focus. And then when I was done with that, it was kind of the next page, the next chapter. And my biggest focus was making sure that I was taking care of the people around me, whether that was my community at Behemoth or that was my family or my kids, or even our coaching staff, or my brother's part owner of our gym as well. So I want to make sure that he was taken care of as well as his family too. So I don't think that there's an option. There's no option for me to be unsuccessful there. And I think a lot of that is invested in just the energy that I put behind it and the work that I put behind it as well. And so it's a blessing to be able to do what I love to do for a living. And, it's just kind of what I do. It's hard to really explain like the mentality behind it. It's just, for me, there are no other options than to give everything that I have into what I'm doing and what I love to do and be successful doing it.
Well, how often do you believe that the way that you treat Leah, the way that you parent, bleeds into the way that you coach and the way that you manage staff?
I mean, I look at both with the same parallels of like just having absolute compassion and caring for what I do, whether it's inside of my gym space or it's even at home. Like, I care about the people in my life, and I want to make sure that I show up for them wholeheartedly. And it doesn't necessarily matter if it's my wife or my children, or even like, people inside of my gym space who I care about helping change the quality of their life through lifestyle-based fitness or whatever we do as far as services go. But I don't really I obviously see them differently in the sense of, I have my immediate family and then I have my extended family, which is my Behemoth community. But for me, there's parallels there in the sense of how I treat my immediate family is similar to how I treat my extended family, where I want to give 100% of what I can into making them happy and helping do my part to help change their lives or be a part of their lives.
I appreciate that. And I will tell anybody who's never been there, who's never worked with you, that the way that you organize everything in the gym, from the way that you run a class, to the way that you guys host events, to the way that you put out correspondence to your members, it's all stuff that to me is very much, it feels like a family, in that there are boundaries, there is love, there is growth, there is support, and there's feedback. And all of those things I think need to be there. And I just wanted to share with you that I admire the way that you do that, both in business and in life. So another thing that you do really well is put good content on the Instagram. By the way, did you ever think you'd be talking about Instagram as like a mode for driving business?
Absolutely not. No, this is actually, something that we've worked really hard on doing in the past couple of years. And I think that I've learned a lot from you guys. I've learned a lot from other friends in the industry on creating what we've created. But no, I would have never thought that we'd be talking about social media here today.
Who outside of us, because I appreciate the plug, who are some of the people who you've learned the most about how to use the Instagram or your media content altogether that have helped you to kind of form what you create? Because it's one thing for people to come look at what you do and then try to emulate it with their own twist on it. It's another thing for them to look at you and to look at your resources.
Yeah, I think they're more similar people than different. Obviously, Nicole Race, she owns Elevate St. Pete. She's been instrumental in our development of our Instagram page, just social media, and just bringing more awareness around like the organic game. Mark Malinquai, I think I'm not pronouncing his last name right, but yeah, exactly. Mark put some really great stuff out there. But I think from Nicole and Mark and you guys, I think you guys do a lot of things more similar. Another guy out there is Stu Brower with a good friend of yours, Stu, does some really awesome stuff. I mean, but you don't have to go far from these few people to really learn a lot about what are some things you should be doing and how to build some consistent eye-catching style content, and how to go about creating your organic marketing game for your business, whether it's a micro gym, whether it's whatever business you might kind of house. So I've learned a lot just following them, but just kind of reaching out to them, talking to them, but really just kind of following what they do too. Like, there's just sheer consistency on the message that they're putting forth, and kind of seeing the content that they're putting forth, just kind of mirroring off of what they're doing, but learning from them as well and asking questions too.
What are some of the big lessons that you've learned? Something that maybe you didn't do as well as you would like to, that you've made changes to?
The number one lesson is probably consistency. So 2 years ago, when we first started this organic marketing game, like, we were only doing paid advertising, and it was working well for us, but we were obviously spending dollars when we could have been just doing something for free and reaping the benefits from it. And so we went from 2 years ago not really doing any posting at all, and not really even taking a legitimate look at our social media platforms and looking at them and how they can bring us business and how we can expand our reach and our message as a gym. But literally going from zero posting at all to, all right, I'm going to post, occasionally throughout the week. And then out of nowhere, it was like drinking from a fire hose. We were like, we're just going all in, and just started posting every single day. And then in the initial phases, it's a little overwhelming because you don't have a strategy, you don't have an approach. It's just kind of like, hey, Arian takes some awesome photos of our community, he captures some, phenomenal moments. How do we take those and how do we build it into a strategy to where we can speak to our ideal client, but we can highlight our current membership base, and we can kind of give the message out on who we are and what we do.
I would love to speak about what you just said there with your ideal client. We are currently in the middle of, today's our second day of what we call Active Life Business Bootcamp, which is where gym owners come on for a week of 1 hour of education each day, followed by an assignment, up to 3 assignments actually yesterday, to help them understand some of the opportunities in their gym and some of the holes. And yesterday we talked about, what is the problem that you solve? Through what process do you solve it? Why are you uniquely suited to solve that problem in that way for the people who have it? And in doing all of that, it's kind of a backdoor to figuring out, who is your ideal client? How do you reach them? Who is the person that you want to reach? And what's the message you're trying to reach them with?
Yeah, so I think what makes us different, number one, is we're not a CrossFit facility. I think when we first came into this, we were a CrossFit gym. And I love what CrossFit has done for our business and how they've gotten us to where we are today. And I'm a big fan of their methodology and what they do. But ever since our creation in 2012, we've always kind of been CrossFit, but not really been CrossFit. I think more gyms are CrossFit than they're not, in the sense that everybody has the big rig, everybody's doing functional fitness, everybody's doing, mixed modality style training. But we've always been after the client that is intimidated by what they see on television, or what their friend says they're doing at the gym down the street, or some sort of video that they see of, what is stigma of CrossFit inside gyms. That is our ideal client. And ever since 2012, that's the type of people that have made up our community and that we've been after. And I don't think we've really gotten a good grasp on speaking to that type of client until, honestly, the past few years, where I've learned a lot from these folks in the industry. I'm like, hey, your gym isn't for everybody out there, because if you guys are for everybody, you're not really for anyone at all. You need to speak to those specific people that you want inside of your gym space. And we're a very family oriented gym space. My brother and I, we both have small children. We're very family oriented. And so we want those same style of people inside of our gym space. But we also want to show those clients that may have had bad experiences elsewhere, or might be intimidated from what they presume goes on inside of our gym space. We want them inside of our gym to show them that they don't have to be fit to start with us. They can get extraordinarily fit for themselves, right, inside of our gym. And that what we do in here is much different than what they would assume goes on here. And so just speaking to those types of clients, talking to them through our social media platforms on what we're thinking is going on in their head, the questions that they're having, the things that they're thinking about when they're seeing our social media or other social media elsewhere, and really just answering those questions and verifying hey, this is the right place to be.
How do you do that? So how do you share a message that is, you might think that this is what goes on, but it's different than that? How do you do that without saying that every single time you make a post?
I think it's having conversations. Well, both Arian and I, we do a lot of our sales. We do a lot of our entry-level conversations, all of our assessment style conversations with clients that are coming to us. We're having those conversations with them. So we're asking the questions what kind of things did you struggle with before you came to us? How did you find us? What made you seek us on out? And based on these conversations that we're having with these clients, obviously allow us to determine whether we're a good fit for them or not. And the ones that we are good fits with, and we see longevity with them in our program, we simply just, and obviously the people that you like having in your gym space, not everybody's going to be a great fit for your gym space. We take these conversations that we're having with them, and we're obviously, also, another point that I want to make is you have more similar people in your gym than you do differently based on the culture you create and all that stuff. But you're taking these conversations with these more similar people, the problems that you're helping them solve, the issues that they're coming in to solve with you, and just like mental conversations that they're having. And then you're kind of assuming that, hey, if I want more people like this inside of my gym space, they're out there. So let's answer these questions by speaking to them through our social platforms, which, isn't going to cost us anything to put it out there. But as long as we're pushing out that consistent message more times than not, we're going to see these people come in. And then I think the other point that I want to make too is like, you got to make sure that when they do come in to see you, whether they're coming through a website, a referral, a Facebook post, an Instagram post, whatever, you want to make sure that that message is consistent too. Like, I don't want people to see something on Instagram, then go to our Facebook and they see that I haven't posted in decades, or they go to our website and our website doesn't have a consistent message as what we're talking to them about on our Instagram.
Mm-hmm. I think, I have a question for you, and that is, what you described as who you want in your gym is almost at complete odds with who you are as an athlete. Meaning, what is the person who's going to come to the gym who would be intimidated by other gyms? What would they be intimidated by? Well, probably heavy weights, right? For starters. And you won the clean and jerk at the CrossFit Games. What else are they going to be intimidated by? Really good athletes all around them. Well, besides the CrossFit Games, you were a professional baseball player. So there's how much of your background as somebody who's been there, done that, do you think allows you to be the gym owner who says, I don't need to be about that anymore. I want to create an environment that you feel comfortable stepping into, as opposed to the gym owner who maybe never had that experience and is looking for great athletes to join their gym?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up, but even since we started Behemoth in late 2011, early 2012, like, our gym has always been the furthest thing from my personal and professional career. Even when we started back then, like, the type of people that we had coming in our gym and the people within our community, they were the furthest thing from that, and they weren't looking for those things. So ever since our creation, like, I didn't want my professional career, or what I've done in this sport, whether it's baseball or CrossFit or both, to like bleed over into the procedures and how we run our classes and how we coach and the type of people that we bring in. So that's kind of the culture that we created from the get-go. And like, you walk into our gym, nothing is really like Aja Barto outside of literally some, Arian had a couple jerseys that have been hung, and I have my CrossFit Games mat underneath our computer that's, hardly even noticeable. But everything is Behemoth. Everything is about our members. We have our members highlighted on the main space in our wall, because it's about the people inside of our gym, and it's not about my professional career. And I think that was a culture that we created from the get-go, and it was the furthest thing from the competition side of CrossFit. It was more about, hey, who are the people that are coming inside of our gym space? Let's celebrate them, and let's kind of cultivate a community around that. And what we started to notice early on is like, the community that we had access to, it was these type of people. It was the average Jane and Joes, the moms, the dads, the aunts, the uncles, the police officers, or the desk jockeys that were coming in to just better their lives. And nobody really cared about swinging from the bar or CrossFit Open or, walking on their hands. And so it really just helped us out too, because that was the vision that we wanted to create. And as of the past couple of years, we've just honed in on those people. And we've found that not only are our numbers as a business better by focusing on bringing those type of people in the gym, but then we're also not dealing with the type of people that are coming inside of our gym that are thinking we're one thing, but we're completely the opposite. And I think that's been the most comforting thing over the past couple of years that has happened to myself and our coaching staff and our facility, is like, we're not having to deal with folks that are here for something different than what we are, because our message is clear.
I do want to push back on one thing. There's one more photo of you and Arian that you didn't mention. And that is the two of you holding up the Atlas stone together for Lululemon.
Yes.
How heavy was that, by the way, that Atlas stone? Or was that like a balloon Atlas stone that was for a prop?
That actually wasn't a stone. It was the moon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So substantial weight. I mean, there's not even a weight to put behind that.
Every time I've come into your gym, one of the things that I've noticed is how much you guys focus on education. You're constantly getting yourself coached, whether it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, cold therapy, our assessments, birth fit stuff, whatever it is, you're constantly getting yourself coached. You were gracious enough to have me come out before we did our seminar on your space to speak to an audience of people the night before a birth fit seminar, which is something that your wife, Leah, is a part of. How does the education that you get permeate into the clients in the gym?
It permeates into our clients. It permeates into our coaches. I mean, a big core value within our gym space is just like communication and the ability to almost take like a white belt mentality, right? You made the jiu-jitsu reference, but like taking the white belt mentality, which I've heard thrown around a lot, is basically just understanding that you're never an expert anywhere and you can always learn from everybody, whether they are an expert in their field or presumed expert, or there's somebody that has no experience whatsoever, you can always learn from them. And so I'm an open book, and I'm just, every day that I come into my life, I have an empty cup, whether that's learning from an article that I'm reading online or diving into what you guys are putting forth or seeing something on social media that's educating me. And then I want to share that as much as I can with my team and my community. So, you know, when it comes to like content and whatnot, trying to always think forwardly and push out things to them that I'm learning or things that I know, because I don't think that they're out there educating themselves on the same streams that I might be. So I want to make sure that I'm pushing that out forth. But, you know, when it comes to my team too, sharing those things, but also just, you know, what we do at our gym space that I think helps us with our, you know, our consistency and our coherency as a team and a unit, putting a consistent professional product forth, is we have constant communication from class to class, and we have constant asking of feedback from other coaches. So our coaches are jumping into other coaches' classes, and then they're also following up with post-class recaps, so that we can all see those things on like, hey, what worked well at this morning classes that our afternoon coaches can take and make sure that their product is consistent and coherent. But also, these are some pitfalls that we ran into in the morning, so look out for these things at the end of the day. And so, you know, the product that we put forth in the beginning might look very similarly or very different in the afternoon product, but because we have those streams of communication, we have those askings for feedbacks and kind of pushing that constructive criticism back and forth, I think it allows us to, you know, offer the product that we have forth. But when it comes to putting content out for our current clientele base and whatnot, you know, the things that I'm learning, the things that our coaches are learning, we're just always trying to communicate these things out to our different streams within our community.
So I want to switch topics for a second here. The first time I came out to you, I stayed at your house, you were making primal burgers. And you were like, have you ever had a primal burger? I said, no. Like, want one? I said, yeah. And inside I was like, no, I don't. And I liked it. Because what it was, I don't even know what was in it. It was a bunch of different, what was the organ meat that you put in that? Do you remember?
Liver. Yeah, liver.
Okay, perfect. I thought of you yesterday because I'm in the process of getting our house redone. And I went to open the garage door and the garage door didn't open. I'm like, damn, did they cut the power to the freezer in the garage where we have the steer that we bought at the end of the summer last year? Steer was good. In there, I have 2 frozen bags of organ meat. One of them is liver, one of them is heart. They're frozen bags of organ meat. How do I start using that without defrosting the whole bag? Like, what do I do? I want to use it, but I don't want to use the whole bag at the same time.
You have to defrost it, but once you defrost it, cut and take what you want and then freeze the rest.
So I can thaw and then refreeze?
Yeah, you'll be all right. Just as long as it like doesn't de-thaw for like 24, like 48, 72, like 3, 4, 5 days. But I mean, the only way that you get access to that is you're going to have to de-thaw it completely.
I was thinking about taking it to the butcher and see if you can like slide it through one of those bone saws.
Yeah, you know what? I'm probably not the best person to ask on that because I'm kind of like a BFI. Like I eat food that's probably way too, like, sits way too long in the fridge, and I've been known to also de-thaw things for far too long. So I have a very a high tolerance for foods that might not necessarily hold as long as I think they would. So go ask your butcher. He probably knows best, and he's a better source than I am. But I think you'll be all right.
My butcher's store just burned down, so it's gonna be a problem.
Did it really?
Yeah.
What happened?
What happened? I don't know. What do I think happened?
We're recording.
Yeah, we're recording.
I can assume based off of that answer where you're going with that.
Yeah, that would be my guess. I don't know. I can't say for sure. But what I'll do then is I will document the process. I will provide you with the credit for it. And if there has to be, me sitting on a toilet holding a bucket, I'll document that content too, and I'll also provide you with credit for that.
You'll be all right, man. I feel like you got an iron gut, Sean.
I don't.
Oh, you don't?
No, I mean, it's maybe like copper.
Sensitive system.
Copper.
Sensitive system.
Plugs.
Anything you want to plug? Anything you got working on right now?
I want to plug that I'm proud of you for eating organ meats, man.
You started that.
I know, man. You've evolved a lot. I love it. I love it.
I appreciate that. You gotta surround yourself with the people you want to be more like. And
Yeah,
look,
exactly.
that was definitely the first time I'd ever, like, I watched you pull bloody organs out of a bag and then just throw them into the, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. It was good though.
Yeah, I got unique ways of taking things that are not very palatable and making them more palatable, especially with my wife. My wife is not a big fan of them. But I feel like organ meats or things that are the most nutrient dense out in the world, they aren't always the most palatable ones. So you can't blame people for not liking them. You just got to figure out ways to make them more likable.
I guess so. I get a heart in there too. We'll see how that goes. Let's throw it all into the same burger and get after it.
I'll shoot you a recipe on the heart. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how much better the heart is than the liver.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay, that's good to know. And we'll get offline. We'll catch up and we'll figure out how we can get back together in person.
For sure, man.
My wife is on search for the best tacos she can find, and I mean, down the block from your house was definitely one of the best I've had.
Oh yeah. Well, we're at a new spot now, and I think we found a little local what do you call it, kind of food truck that's got some better tacos.
Nice. All right. Well, Aja, I appreciate you coming on. Your Instagram account is at the bottom of the screen, but the other one for the gym is what?
Behemoth Gym, at Behemoth Gym.
BEHEMOTHGYM.
Yes, sir.
Aja Barto, thank you, my friend.
Sean, thanks for the opportunity, man.
Yeah, I miss you already. Taking this thing out.
Yeah, you can hang out there for a second, give me some filler.
I'm going to hang out here for a second. What do you mean you're going to give me some filler?
You're going to give me some filler.
I'm going to give you some filler. Got it. So what we're about to do is go into the gym, and Sean is going to demonstrate some techniques for shooting inside of a gym so that you don't end up with a bunch of blurry shots, a bunch of shots into the light, a bunch of shots that sound terrible, all the stuff that he made me do when I wanted to start putting myself on camera before he was willing to actually put me on camera himself. You remember those days?
I do remember those days.
Go online and get this microphone from Amazon. Get a long wire so you don't trip on it.
Well, you didn't want to pay for a pro.
I didn't. I couldn't.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is a lesson for all of you out there. If you can't pay for a pro right now and you don't want to, just start doing stuff. Put stuff on camera.
Yeah, I think Asia is a great example of that. Like, I listened to that whole. Can you give me a little?
Yeah.
I'm here now, I guess. I think Asia is a great example of someone that's not overcomplicating things. Mm-hmm. Like, gyms need pictures. Gyms need movies. Mm-hmm. There needs to be content coming out. That does not mean let's spend $3,000 every week, bring in a 4-person film crew, and we're going to shoot for 8 hours, close our gym, piss off all our members, and do that regularly. Right. No gym has a budget of $36,000 a year to just start their media campaign, right? That's not happening.
No, and the other thing is, I think that, and a saying that I like to kind of put in my head to remind me whenever I don't document something, or when I'm thinking about not documenting it is yesterday sells tomorrow. Yesterday sells tomorrow. Yesterday sells tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's much easier to sell the next event than it was to sell the first event, because you can take the content of the smiling faces, the people who have made the transformations, and allow other people to feel like that could be them. If you don't have that,
I hear you, man.
you can't.
Take the pictures.
Tell me what to do.
All right, let's go take it into there. Let's. I'm gonna try to switch from here and see what happens.
Follow us.
Ooh, yeah, it's switched. Get in there. Go buy one of those slam balls. Let me just make sure my microphone's on. I think it is, but we might as well check. Yep, we're good.
I can hear you over here.
You can hear me.
Yeah.
Well, you can hear me.
So your microphone's obviously on.
It's not from my mouth.
I was joking.
I see. All right, so these were our marks over here. So the goal, you can back up a little bit.
Tell me that was my mark.
I thought it was, but it must have moved a little bit, or the camera moved or something.
The camera moved by itself.
I do actually think that because it's not balanced right. Okay, you back up a little bit so you don't angle me. So the point of this segment is to talk about how you can be using a camera in the gym to be taking better pictures. The first step we're going to do is not use a big camera, because that's one of the #1 things that stops people from creating anything, is thinking that they need to buy the thing. The #1 question I've gotten in my Instagram direct messages for the last almost 10 years now is, what camera do I need to buy? Not what do I need to learn. The what I need to learn is almost always free and can work with any camera. So we're gonna do all this with iPhone, right? You're not gonna see the pictures. They're not gonna be that good. But the point is, the camera you have is more important than just buying something. So first step is you're always gonna do one of these. Give a little wipe, 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 wipe,
Why
wipe.
won't the pictures be that good?
Well, it's because of the subject, right? First step when you're using your camera phone, and most of these tips are going to work for photo and for video. So you could think about them the same way. First step, we wipe to make sure it's clean. Second step, we make sure we are not the person that's actually supposed to be doing the coaching. Let the coaches coach the classes. Coaches are not the photographers, right? You can have a coach that he is signed up for the next hour and his role is to be the media person, but he or she should not be responsible for being the photographer. So let's say Sean's my guy here. Why don't you grab that kettlebell over there? So what I want to do first of all is, if I want to take a good picture, first of all, I'll show the bad. So the bad would be, I'm going to walk up, maybe I'm out like here. Maybe I'm going to walk even all the way out of the camera, and I'm over here. And I'm going to take a vertical picture of him just swinging that kettlebell. You can stop. I don't want to burn you out too fast.
Thank you.
The first thing we want to do with our camera is go this way. There's going to be some asterisks to that based on what kind of place you want to send your picture off to. But if you go shoot horizontal for everything, you always have the ability to cut into it to make a vertical. But if you take a vertical picture, you don't always have the opportunity to make it horizontal. So I'm going to do it this way. The first step. So first step was turn the camera. So Sean, why don't you go swing that kettlebell for me a little bit? All right. So I was out here. First thing I want to do, I want to get closer. I want to get closer to the action, right? Immediately, going to be a much better picture. Click, 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 click. All right, relax for a second. So when you look at your Sports Illustrated, is that still a thing? Is Sports Illustrated still a magazine? Yeah. Okay, sure. If you look at good sports photography, whether you're checking out like
the bikini magazine now.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So most of these tips will not work for that because they'll actually give the wrong effect.
Got it.
So when you look at really good fitness style images, it's usually for men specifically about making them look bigger, and unfortunately for women, usually about trying to make them look leaner. But the same rules apply in terms of trying to make things look a lot more epic and bigger, and really try to pump up people to make your kind of everyday heroes. So the easiest way to create a more heroic shot to make people look more awesome is so first of all, I've already gotten closer, is now instead of shooting here, which is a perspective we're all used to because that's where our heads are, is to get lower. So so I'm gonna get lower. So swing that kettlebell for me.
Yeah. Stepping.
All right, we're ready.
That's the shot I want.
Yeah, we actually have this shot of you back in the old days with that swinging kettlebell shot,
I'm
remember?
more jacked now.
Oh, yeah, that's not true at all. But so also then, once I'm down there, I might start working some different angles, right? I'm shooting up on him, and it makes Sean look like he's way more than the 155 pounds that he is, right?
65.
So step one, turn the camera. Step 2, get closer. Step 3, change up that perspective and that angle. This is a big important rule to keep in your head though. When you shoot someone low up, it's going to make them look bigger. If you're working with clients that are there with weight loss goals in mind, shooting them in that direction is going to make that body image look even more inflated, right? So you need to be thinking about when and how to apply that. Conversely, if I shot down on someone, it's going to make them always look smaller, which may be kind of the effect you want to go for. The big thing is we want to think about, stop shooting where your head is. Change the angle. So we're shooting down, we're shooting up. Even the difference of that versus that is going to be absolutely dramatic. So a couple things there. Position, we're messing around with the camera. The biggest part of photography and videography is it's about catching light. So we have the camera set up shooting in this direction, catching us here, is because we have big windows behind the camera and we also have a couple fancy lights. Those lights are what's giving us our contrast, our shadows, our highlights, and that's what makes pictures look interesting. If, for instance, we flipped absolutely everything in this room right now, we would be shooting into really, really bright lights. It would make everything look bad, and especially on a point and shoot like a camera, like an iPhone, it's going to make the pictures look terrible and washed out because it's trying to expose for that really bright thing behind you, or it's going to do really weird stuff to try to get the subject that's getting blown out look good. So what you always want to think about doing is putting your really, really bright light behind you so it's hitting your subject, right? So that's why we already were set up this way. But let's say Sean was going the other way. Those windows are now behind us. What I would be getting now with especially a camera phone is either, what's that?
They can't see them.
They can't see them, it's okay. But what the picture and the camera will be getting is a really, really washed out window. They're not going to get a good look. So most people are always complaining that, especially in a gym environment, whether it's a Globo gym, a CrossFit gym, is that the lighting conditions are really bad. It's not that the lighting conditions are bad, it's that you're not working with what's there. So if I was shooting into windows, it's going to look terrible. But if I know to always keep a window behind me when I'm shooting, like let's say we do like an athlete of the month thing in the gym, I don't want to shoot them in the back corner of the gym where it's completely pitch black. I want to prop them right in front of the door, right in front of the window. Or maybe we have like a strip of grass outside, shoot out there. The light is going to be 10,000 times better. And when the light is better, the camera works better. So that's why if you take beach pictures with your iPhone, they look great. When you take pictures at nighttime inside, they look terrible. The camera needs light to work. So I think that really could be one of the absolute biggest tips you can have is just thinking about the light.
So 3 tips to recap.
3 tips to recap.
Wipe the lens.
Wipe the lens.
Up angle makes them bigger, down angle makes them smaller.
Angles.
Get close. 4 tips. Get closer than you think you should.
Get way closer.
Keep the light behind the camera.
Keep the light behind the camera. I have, for some reason, 5 fingers up.
Your math's not good.
Cool, you want to take it to the desk?
Yeah.
I love it. Cool, let's go. I still got to switch. Sorry, people. There we go. Sorry.
Are you apologizing to me?
I'm just apologizing to the internet.
Probably good.
All right, so So a couple things to recap, because I think the last thing I would want to hit on is video a little bit, and what gyms need to be doing for video and how that can be a little different than photography. Like I say, take your iPhone immediately right now, snap pictures of people, snap pictures of your facility, think about where the light is, create some interesting angles. You're gonna get good stuff just with the camera phone. With videography, because everyone knows that that's what people are putting up all the time. There's a lot of, use the phrase a lot of times, unconscious
incompetence.
Yeah, unconscious incompetence, which I guess the way I would summarize that means they don't know that they're doing something bad. You're trying your best. Yeah, they don't know that what they're doing is maybe the wrong way of doing it when we could be doing it a much better way, very simply. So the big point I would put on video is for video, where all the same composition rules apply, but you're gonna see so many of those talking head videos where people are just looking at their camera, and I know I've sent you many messages about this because these are things that drive me crazy. The biggest mistake people are always making is their camera is gonna be like this, shooting up at them, like the classic zoom window that everyone thinks is just, horrible. You need to think about trying to line up that camera with your eye line.
It's the opposite of what you were talking about in the other room.
Right, exactly. Because if you're trying to make someone look normal and talk in a normal way, you want the camera here. You don't want your zoom shot or your, hey, I'm talking about what we're doing today in the gym, to be this weird up angle. But then the other side of video is obviously audio.
Right.
People need to be able to hear stuff, right? So you're in a big room, you have your phone over wherever, and you're talking at your phone, clang, 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 bang, bang, bang. I'm talking. It's not gonna sound good. You're yelling at it. The camera doesn't have any idea what kind of sound to pick. The one time I would say you should probably buy something if you were going to make an investment is in some kind of wireless microphone. Like, that is the number one thing you need for video if you seriously want to be recording any kind of video, is get a wireless microphone. This is a Rode Wireless Go. The newer one will plug directly into your iPhone.
Interesting.
They sell an adapter. Like, you could still do this right now with this. You just have to spend $10 and get an adapter. This is about a $200 microphone, but when you're talking in like business terms, these are the things that are going to be your marketing, your social media. These are huge, valuable places that people are going to be finding out about your gym. This is not the place to cheap out on.
Right. Well, what it comes down to is everyone out there has heard it. You've heard the video where you're like, I can't really hear what that person's saying. You strain for a second if you think it's going to be really valuable, and then if it's not immediately satiating, you're like, I'm moving on. Audio. If your audio is good, you have a longer window to keep people. It's that simple. And if you're thinking, I can't spend $200 on a microphone to improve my audio by a little bit, don't think of it as $200 on a microphone. Think of it as $200 spread over 3 years to make every video that you create sound perfect.
Right. There's some, I don't know if it was a study, but people will forgive bad pictures and bad video, the image. The second there's bad sound, people immediately click it off. So, and I'm sure you might have had this experience, whether it's podcasts, you hear someone has a really janky sounding podcast, or they're like, oh, sorry, this episode we're traveling and we recorded it and it sounds
cool. I don't want to listen to it.
There's no chance. This is burning my ears. Yeah. And especially over the last year with people being locked down, doing a lot of production from home, people have gotten even more accustomed to the image looking bad, but the sound always needs to be on point. Like Aja, just putting in those headphones for the interview, sounded incredible.
Well, it's
like, it sounded great.
It's 20 cents a day if you amortize it over 3 years.
Exactly. Like,
it's
yeah.
Nothing.
And Aja wasn't even using a fancy microphone. He used Apple wired headphones, and that microphone was a dramatic improvement over what would have him just been yelling at his computer while birds were chirping in the background.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. If you have any questions, drop them in there. Rob Stark says he cannot forgive bad audio.
He can't do it. Rob can't do it, but that's why Rob is Hollywood. That's Rob.
Rob?
Rob S. Schneerman.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
That's okay.
That's making sense now.
Yeah, I was like, Rob Stark.
Well, it's Tony Stark's brother.
Isn't that
That's a joke.
Game of Thrones character?
Rob Stark is a Game of Thrones character. Yeah. Tony Stark is is Iron Man.
Are they related?
Iron Man and Rob Stark are not related.
They should be.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think the questions are going to come flowing in today. I think I bored them all.
Well,
it's all right.
Yeah.
Can't win them all, right?
No. And are you building a course for ProPath with this stuff?
Shh. Me and Rob are talking about it. Yeah. So one of the big things that we did, or you did in ProPath, was, and
you just give me credit for
I did give you credit because it was a really good idea.
Wow.
Is in the pre-course in ProPath, gyms were getting this document that basically said, this is the shot list you need to give to, if you hire a photographer, just give them this piece of paper and do the shoot based off of this piece of paper. If you have a guy in your gym or a girl in your gym that's going to do the shooting, give them this piece of paper and say, you need to have this once you start ProPath, because so much of the marketing is going to be built around these types of images. And I'm not going to give away what they are. They're just too unique to even tell you. But I will say,
coaches and athletes.
Yeah, wild stuff. But so to the point that I was by no means skeptical that this shot list was bad. I just don't like anything that I don't make. It's just a natural position. But I was working with a gym who said, hey, can you just use Sean's shot list? And I went, yeah, you mean I don't have to
Jeremy?
do... Yeah. I'm like, you mean I don't have to do my job or come up with anything? I could just read a piece of paper and take these pictures? Yep, sounds good. Love it.
And he had just used a different photographer like 3 months
Yeah,
later.
like it might have been months. It was like weeks later,
Right.
and my price was not dramatically different.
Right. Well, his concern was, is it really going to be that different? And I said,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Like you have photos.
Right.
You'll have photos you can use.
One was usable photo. Well, I could tangent on this for a while, but going off of the shot list was...
I'll tangent on it for you briefly.
Okay.
The difference was he had 150 photos from another photographer who took a bunch of good photos. And 18 to 20 of them were perfect for what he wanted. As opposed to getting 150 photos, each of which are perfect for what he wanted.
Right. Like the big issue is if you just hire a photographer, you have, as I always call in my courses, Uncle Joe, taking pictures in your gym. They're taking pictures. Yes, they're more times than not, especially with newer cameras, they're going to be exposed properly. They're going to look right. Maybe they're cropped right. Maybe the coloring's okay. But they're not really shooting for a purpose. When you're hiring a good pro or someone that understands, like especially like gym media, they understand that you're taking a picture for a purpose. So like, am I shooting website banners? That requires a specific type of image. Do you need facility shots? Should the facility be with people or without people? Like, oh, well, maybe just like shoot the 4 o'clock class. Well, why? What is the goal? And if I shoot the 4 o'clock class, am I going to get everything you need? Or are you going to think I'm not going to stay here for 4 more hours?
Right. Are you lifting weights that day? Do you want weights
Right.
in your
Like
photos?
I showed up at a gym and they're like, oh, weird day that you're here because we're just doing Cindy, which is for you non-CrossFitters, it's just air squats, push-ups, and pull-ups for 20 minutes. That was the entire day. This was going to be their marketing shoot. And they're like, weird that you're here today. I'm like, this is the day we scheduled months ago. Weird that you programmed this. It's not an accident that you decided this workout on this day.
This is the day that you do like a 7-station ridiculous workout.
Maybe, you know, like again, if your goal is I want to show lots of athletes doing lots of different things. If it wasn't your goal,
Right.
don't do that. If you're the gym that does push-ups, pull-ups, and squats, and that's going to be your marketing, you did a great job.
Right.
But the ProPath stuff, I took this shot list that you made, shot for about an hour, delivered this stack of images to the gym. They loved them because I'm great, but the timing couldn't have been better. This was March 2nd of 2020.
Yeah, it's right before the pandemic.
So pandemic hits 2 weeks later. Gyms, especially in New York, are completely locked down. There's no training happening, but everyone is moving to online education, online classes, Zoom training. On that shot list was stuff like coaches talking on phone, coaches talking to computers, coaches coaching in front of computers. You know, like, which really, it wasn't even coaches coaching in front of computers. It was supposed to be coaches having like a meeting on computers, but it could now be used for coaches coaching on computers and all of this stuff. So those first couple weeks, the dude is trying to scramble around and figure out how to get the gym still operational and make sure everyone doesn't leave the gym during the lockdown. He has really high quality media of his coaches on phones. All of them. His coaches having conversations with members. And it's those types of images that really supported his social media for months. And I think he probably still uses them today. They were good. Yeah. And those were not accidental pictures. You wouldn't just walk into the gym and accidentally take those pictures.
No, you would never say, sit behind the computer, grab your phone, point at the screen, and take a photo.
Right, exactly.
All right.
Love it.
We'll see you next week. Do we have a guest next week?
I want to say maybe. I'm strong on maybe.
I feel like Larry thinks he got Stu for next week.
He thinks he got Stu for 2 weeks from now when we're filming Immersion.
Got it.
Yeah.
So we're not doing a live in 2 weeks?
Well, when we're filming Immersion all day, that will be problematic. Production.
We'll see you next week, and then we'll see you 2 weeks after that.
Yeah.
Turn pro.
Yeah.
Go hit the button.
I'm hitting the button.